around the wicket as we build up to the second test of the Ashes. Australia with a 1-0 lead heading to Brisbane. I'm Neroli Meadows and I'm joined by Callum Ferguson and Aaron Finch. Finchy, no Pat Cummins in the squad for the second test in a row, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he won't still play. Tell me more.
Well, I just feel as though the way that Australia pick their squads, that there's a return to play criteria that you have to tick off before you're allowed to be included in the squad. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pat Cummins is on the team sheet come Thursday morning.
Ooh, I like the glint in your eye is just sparkling with that prospect.
Well, he's a world-class bowler, leader of Australian cricket team. So for me, he's ticking every box at the moment. So the fact that when they selected the squad, he wasn't available to be included, I think is one thing. But the more you look into it, that everyone's saying that he's ramping up his loads over the last couple of days. So yeah, if he's 100%, he'll play, no doubt.
Watch this space. Fergie, we've seen some interesting things in the Gabonets. Steve Smith with the NFL-style black under the eyes, as we will see on screen shortly. What do you think about this? And you've got actually a pretty good record in pink ball tests. Or, sorry, I shouldn't say pink ball test, should I say pink ball cricket. 6 matches, 423 runs, average of 38, a high score of 101. What's the trick to facing it and what's Smudge looking at there?
Well, he's just trying to take the glare out of it, is my understanding, with the patches under the eyes. You see it a lot in the NFL over in America where they play under lights a lot. Look, the pink ball is a different beast. It does swing later. The threat against the new ball is substantial, especially if you're facing a guy like Mitch Starc who swings it late. It'll be exponentially greater through the air with the pink ball. So, look, with facing a guy like him, short steps, not looking to overcommit with the front foot. You don't want to get your pad blown off by a ball swinging in a really dramatic fashion late at you. I think that's the key there. But once the ball gets a bit softer, you've got to really play late and under your eyes. The threat of getting caught at short mid-wicket and short cover is greater with that pink ball. It becomes a bit of a tennis ball bounce. So it's a very different game. The phases of the game are quite dramatic as well. When it gets into the evening lights, as the light is crossing over into artificial, the ball really does start to do bits. But through the day, you've got to understand that that's the time to score your runs and really make hay while the sun literally shines.
I really struggled with the pink ball. It was something that I struggled to pick it up, particularly as the light was on dusk. It's a bit different when it's brand new at night. It almost feels like there's a bit of a comet-like effect. The ball seems bigger, but it's obviously not. So you've got reflections coming off everywhere. So I found it really difficult. So I like the fact that Steve's trialling something different. The Shivnarine Chandipur sponsors underneath.
Yes, that's next level.
Don't be surprised if there's a couple of logos under there come day one.
Yeah, well, that's right. And the other thing you do notice is it's quite obvious when you're sitting in the stands or at home. When it starts going to night time, you see a lot more fielders behind the wicket. But when the daytime comes and the ball gets a bit softer, they go in front of the game, in front of the batter. So you really do see those phases happening in front of your eyes.
Shout out to the grade cricketer boys who said that Steve Smith is just becoming more and more American as the days go by. Soho Smudge. Should there be a pink ball test? Joe Root has come out and said unnecessary in the Ashes because it's such a wonderful event as it is. Obviously, Travis Head said, big fan. I wish it was still at the Adelaide Oval. Is this just a case of if you win, you love it. If you lose, you don't love it?
Well, I think whatever's best for the game overall. I mean, cricket's in a really interesting space, particularly international cricket, particularly Test cricket. So from that point of view, I think you have to continue to try and work out what is the best for the game, both financially and as a spectacle. So I've got no issue with it.
Yeah, I think it's growing the game. It certainly appeals to a wider demographic and it takes cricket into the prime time on TV a lot. So they're winners in my eyes.
Another winner in our eyes is Michael Clarke. He's going to join us after this short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Around the Wicket. We head to the Gabba for an Ashes test and we welcome Michael Clarke, the former Australian captain. Dare I say, Pup, should we get ready for a broken arm?
Oh, sledging early. Hello to everybody in studio. Yeah, well, we all made mistakes in our lives or we call them lessons these days. I probably didn't need to say that, but I did. And I enjoy playing at the Gabba. It's a good place for Test cricket. Pink ball is going to be interesting. I heard you guys earlier talking about that and what it might do. I'm sure Starkey's looking forward to it. His record's phenomenal with that pink ball, and so's the Aussie team. So I think England have got their work cut out in this Test match.
I know you don't like us talking about it, Pup, but honestly, it made me love Pup more as a captain. Surely you guys are on board with that.
Oh, we're right behind him. Don't worry about that.
Love it. You speak about Perth. 132 in that first Test for Australia. So even though the Aussies get away with a win, it wasn't all roses and sunshine. What were the learnings from that first innings, do you think?
Well, I think they adjusted well in the second innings. Obviously, Uzi doesn't open and Travis Head plays a phenomenal knock. But I think that's the key to good teams. You're not going to have, your best day out every time. As a batsman, you don't walk out there hoping to get a duck ever. But the game's tough. So I think the key is learning and trying not to make the same mistakes again, certainly in the second innings of a Test match. So I think Australia probably look at a few things, shot selection, how England bowled. They adjusted in the second dig and batted a lot better. So, again, they go to conditions that we're very accustomed to. I think our success up in Queensland is extraordinary, to be honest, to have won so many Test matches at the Gabba and the way we've won over a long period of time. I'm sure this team will want to continue that.
It's not been spoken about a lot publicly because there's been so much to talk about despite the massive gap. You think behind the scenes, how will it be viewed?
Well, I know Andrew McDonald, the way that he likes to review games, and it's taken the emotion of the game out of it. So immediately after, let everyone be, don't review things straight away. Allow people to digest everything that they've just done themselves and a lot of self-reflection. And then it'll be a lot of small groups. It'll be a couple of batters getting together, talking about it, Michael Divenuto, the batting coach. So they'll be all there reviewing it in small groups. There's not many big sit-down meetings and go through ball by ball what we've all sat through in the past when things don't go your way as a team. And they can be quite ruthless and brutal at times. And you don't need to be reliving that at the start of a series when you've just come off a win. But it will be a really detailed analysis of each person's performance, but one-on-one, where it's a nice, comfortable environment where you say, right, what was your planning? What was your preparation? What was your thought process? And you dig a little bit deeper into that in a smaller group.
Finchy, we talk about what's spoken about in the public eye, as opposed to behind the scenes. Usman Khawaja coming out this week, labelling the Perth pitch a piece of...
Yep.
That coupled with his golf post last week. Now, all of these things may seem a little innocuous, but is it a fine line between being honest in the public, which of course we want, but also then being a distraction and an unnecessary distraction to the team? What do you think?
Oh, there was so much heat on England. There was no talk about how bad Australia were on day one, like with bat in hand. So I think that there's just a time and a place where you look back on it and you go, why did I need to bring the attention back onto myself, who's reshuffled the order through? I mean, no one means to get injured. No one's out there wanting that distraction to the team. Right. But then you go, right, there was so much heat on England. No one was talking about us. Just let it be.
Pup, what do you think? Is it a case of if you're scoring runs, nothing to see here, but when you're not scoring runs, maybe stay a little quieter?
I think we're looking for things, to be honest, with Uzi at the moment. My take on this, very rarely do you see Australia change, certainly a specialised batting position halfway through or at the start of an Ashes tour. I think if Uzi wasn't going to be our opener, he shouldn't have played the first Test. The fact he's opened the batting, he's got injured, that's what it is. He's got injured. Now I think he should come back. He should open the batting, second Test match. Australia doesn't need to change anything. I think they would have thought over a long period of time what they feel is their best six batters. And before the start of this series, all the talk was who's going to be the second opener. So I don't think in one Test match you make that change and now say, right, we're getting rid of Uzi because Travis Head's had an unbelievable day out. So anything at the moment Uzi touches, it's media bound. We're going to talk about it. From his perspective, though, he just needs to get fit, firstly, and hopefully he is. I saw some footage yesterday of him batting in the nets. Now just go make runs. Leave all the distractions off the field and go and make runs.
The fallout from England's perspective, it was interesting to hear Ben Stokes speak over the weekend. It felt like a slightly more contrite England captain, more humble and thoughtful in the questions that the press were asking him. But he says, call us rubbish, but arrogant is too far. Thoughts, Pup?
Well, I think, the Australian team I come into as a youngster probably copped the same. That Australian team got criticised for winning everything. So again, you got to live by the sword and die by the sword. This is a good challenge for England. This whole Bazball conversation, they're under pressure. They lost that test. They're in a winning position. I think how they play this second test is what everybody's going to be looking at. So, if Ben Stokes feels this is what they've been trying to achieve, and Brendan McCullum as well, now we'll see if they stick to it, which will take a lot of courage. I don't know, the whole arrogant thing. There is a gap between confidence and arrogance. Don't get me wrong. And Stokesy as well. I think he had a little crack at some of the not individual past players, but years gone by. In calling them has-beens or whatever he said. I can't remember his exact words. So I think there might be a little bit of beef from some past players who probably happen to work in the media. So again, a little bit like the Uzi conversation. Win games, this disappears. Lose games, and every single spotlight is shone on you.
He did admit over the weekend that has-beens was a horrible word and a wrong choice of words. So he seems to be softening slightly, publicly at least, do you think, Finchy?
Yeah, I think so. And that's a part of the reflection piece of you come into a series and say, right, we're going to play one way. We've been building for this for 2 years. And then you go, right, that didn't go to plan there. I know they will still stick to the way that they want to play, but just maybe around the language that they've been using and how direct they've been and how forthright they've been with everything that they've done. I think that it gets to a point where you go, right, we're getting some of our own supporters offside here. A lot of people paid a lot of money for a 2-day test match. So from that point of view, you go, right, we better understand and connect back with the people that are paying our bills.
And Pup, as a former captain, can you talk about the necessity for clarity in chaos? He admitted he got a few things wrong under the pump in Perth, particularly up against Travis Head. But we've heard Mitchell Johnson come out on Triple M, for example, and say that one of the best things about you as a captain was that you said, hey, don't need you to take wickets. I need you to bowl fast, intimidating spells. That's your job. Can you talk to the clarity in chaos that you had?
That was probably in the Ashes series. I think it was 13-14 Ashes series. But I think, obviously, everyone's looking for their role in the team. You got 11 different individuals, 11 different players. I think, there are specific roles in a team. And for me, with a bowling unit, that is very important. How you select your best attack, for me, was crucial with any team I captain, rather than necessarily being your best 3 individual fast bowlers. And in that series, we had Ryan Harris, Peter Siddle, Mitchell Johnson, Shane Watson, Nathan Lyon. So they had different roles. And Mitch's role was to be that X factor, bowl short spells, be aggressive. I thought that was going to have the most impact in helping us win. So I think everybody craves that to a certain extent. When you're going well, you probably don't think about it as much. When you're out of form or not performing as well as you like, you're asking your captain or your coach or your senior players, what is my specific role? And yeah, I think, England will be no different. I think how Stokesy, and I said this before the first test, how Stokesy uses his fast bowlers, especially if they're going to pick 4 plus himself, is going to be super important. They can't all play the same role. I can't remember if it was in the second innings, I saw Mark Wood started, whenever he come in the bowl, he bowled into the breeze in Perth. And that surprised me again. I see someone like Mark Wood, if he's used the right way, he can play a bit of that Mitchell Johnson role. Bowl quick, use his short ball. Stokesy can give him protection behind the wicket, whether it's a deep square leg or a third man, and really attack Australia. I didn't see enough of that in Perth from him.
Yeah, no, just to touch on the clarity of role again, it takes such commitment to say, you know what, I want you to play this certain role. And when it doesn't go well, that you still stick to it. Because the easiest thing to do is say, right, Mitchell Johnson, I want you to go and be fast and aggressive. Don't worry about wickets. Don't worry about runs. And then it doesn't go well. And all of a sudden, the captain turns around and goes, geez, you're leaking too many runs. We can't pick you again.
That's right.
And that's where you lose all credibility and you lose your playing group really quick. So that's as big a part of it than the actual clarity of role itself.
Can I just say, you had clear clarity of role that seg. You were fantastic.
I was outstanding. Some of my best work.
Thanks for joining us. We'll chat to you after the Brisbane test. Don't go anywhere because Graeme Swann is coming up next. Well, it's a fun time to be an Englishman in Australia, which is why our next guest decided to up and leave to New Zealand to get away from it all. Graeme Swann joins us now. Swanny, you scared of us?
I've had the most wonderful week. Honestly, Kiwis are the most beautiful Australasians. No chips on their shoulder. Don't care about the cricket. It's been gorgeous.
Be honest. What is it actually like to be a touring player in Australia when you're losing the Ashes or when you lost it as badly as what went down in Perth? What is it actually like?
Yeah, it's not great. I won't lie. I mean, I don't think it's great to be on tour anywhere and losing. I think the only place that would be similar would be India because of the amount of people who are that into the cricket in India. And if you're over in Australia just playing a one-day series or a T20, it's not got that big coverage, and so you can sort of hide under the rafters a bit. But the Ashes is huge. Everyone's into it. Everyone saw that two-day spectacle. And yeah, it gets tough because everyone's got an opinion, from the guy serving you breakfast to the girl serving you coffee to the taxi drivers. Everyone upon everybody suddenly becomes very pro-Australian. Even the English who were in Perth suddenly turned against the English after that two-day debacle.
Hey, I've got both passports, so don't try me. Mark Wood, he only bowled the 11 overs in Perth. Couple of day tests, a big break in between, and it looks like he's going to miss the second test. How concerning is it for the series?
It is a concern with Woody because you know how quick he can bowl and how good he is. But it's something that England have lived with for a long time. He really struggles to put back-to-back games or 3 games in a row. So I think it's something they will have definitely sort of scheduled in to the series. So they won't be that surprised. There will be a plan B. But of course, I mean, the English attack in that first innings looked as potent as any England attack has looked for a long time. And in an ideal world, everyone would be fit and firing for Brisbane, especially because with the pink ball and the fact that Brisbane wicket is probably the second quickest in Australia, you'd want Wood playing. So it is a concern, I won't lie to you. And he's a fellow Newcastle United fan as well. So
that's a good
I wish
point.
him all the best.
Yeah, well, I think it's a huge concern for England. The fact that he did only bowl 11 overs, and like you said, with the big break in between, to see him in this massive knee brace walking around training with nothing else to do, to me, he can't possibly play back-to-back test matches at all. We like you said, Swanee, we probably expected that. But the fact that it was 11 overs, to me, that is huge alarm bells. Can he back up bowling 20 overs in an innings to then go again in the second innings? So, yeah, trouble.
Who comes in for him, Swanee? No spinner, obviously picked in Perth, even question marks over Nathan Lyon's spot in the public. Who comes in for Mark Wood?
I'm going to say spin. I'm obviously going to say spin. It broke my heart a little bit to see England play with no spinner. I could understand it, of course, on that drop-in pitch. And in the first innings, you just didn't need a spinner. But I think in that second innings, when Head was going, absolutely ballistic, just a change of pace, something to break it up. Once a batsman gets going against quick bowlers, and they are all quick, once you get used to the pace, you need something to break it up. And obviously, being a former spinner myself, I'll forever believe that a spinner should play. So for me, I would go with Shoaib Bashir in this one. Even though a lot of people will look at me and say, no, you're bonkers, surely this game has to go more than 2 days. I mean, I've never known a test match quite like it. Surely day 4, at least, when the wicket could break up a bit. So I'd put a spinner in if I were England.
Yeah, I think they've got to go the spinner. I was hopeful at the start of this series that the England pace battery might actually improve with every run through the series. But after Mark Wood missing this second test with the knee, I'm not so sure anymore. I wonder whether it might be a real battle of attrition to get all these quicks through the summer. It's a tough one in Australia, we know that.
A former teammate of yours, Joe Root, starts a series with a dark and 8 in Perth. The pressure starts to mount, the talk starts to mount around him. What's your advice and how do you think he's going to go for the rest of this series?
Well, advice-wise, I'll tell you, I've given Joe Root advice once when he batted. His test debut, and I was batting with him. I was guiding him to a test 100 on debut in Nagpur. I kept saying, just stay there. I'll keep blocking it. I'll take all the good bowlers. You just keep, patting back the part-times at the other end. He wouldn't listen. He came down the wicket and he got out. Robbed himself of a maiden 100. So any advice I've got for Joe, he won't listen to anyway. Yeah, of course, it's a concern for him that he didn't score runs. But I think of the 12 batsmen across the two teams, one player is probably happy with how that test match went, and that's Travis Head. The other 11 will all be looking at their replays like this and thinking, well, how did I look so bad? How did an international player manage to get out so easily to pace bowling on a pitch? That's the big issue going forward. I think Joe, of all people, will come through it. That dismissal there, he'll be disappointed with because his bat just didn't come down straight, which it normally does. But he's not on his own routine, to be fair, because, like I said, 11 or 12 batsmen, in the first innings especially, just looked all at sea against genuine pace and bounce. And can I just say quickly, I loved that wicket. I thought that was brilliant. It was a brilliant spectacle, pace and bounce, some of the best quick bowlers in the world on either team. I thought it was great to watch, but I would have liked to watch a bit more.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought, being there live, I didn't think that it was a wicket that was a 2-day test match. Yes, there was pace, yes, there was bounce, yes, there was carry, but it didn't go around corners, didn't swing really. So for me, I love seeing Joe Root's preparation leading into this second test match. He's spent 45 minutes to an hour just facing left arm quicks and left arm angle in the nets yesterday. So to me, that's just doing your basic preparation, and he's doing it well. He's a world-class player. I mean, yeah, of course he would have liked more runs, but yeah, no one else got him except Travis Head.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll back you up on that wicket. CricViz have brought out some data that actually suggests that day one wicket was the most consistent of all the wickets on day one that Perth Stadium's produced. So I agree with Swanee. That was a wonderful spectacle, and let's just hope both sides have learned some lessons.
Neither of us had bats in our hands, so that's probably why we enjoyed it as much.
Yeah, exactly.
You were okay in that very first test in Perth. You actually went okay, despite the finger. Zach Crawley, you speak of batters missing out. He got a pair, of course, in Perth. Is he going to come good, do you think?
I hope so. Because, I felt for him a little bit because you're coming under pressure, and as an opening bat, you set the tone. And the thing is for Zach, he got out both ways. He was nicked off first innings with the ball going away from him, and then he was caught in the second innings with the ball coming back into him. And what a catch, by the way. I still think he grounded it, but that's just my one-eyed English way of thinking. Look, just here, he catches it and then he pushes himself up off the ground using the ball. You can't do that.
Swanee,
You're dreaming, mate.
Swanee.
No, I'm joking.
He called it the backyard one hand, one bounce to me on the phone.
Swanee, you said that you feel bad for him, but they're two massive drives on the up at Perth, where the only thing that you can't do is play big booming cover drives or off drives on the up early in your innings. 30 overs into the test, you can do that because you're able to trust the bounce a bit more. You've been out there a while. You can stay on top of the ball, as he does very well when the ball's not as bouncing as high. So, you can't say you feel sorry when it's the same type of dismissal. Big booming drives in the first over in both innings.
No, when I say I feel sorry for him, because I know what it feels like for him to sit in a room having had a really bad test match and then have 10 days to the next. I'm not excusing the way he got out. And you're absolutely right, Finchy. I think if every single batsman looks at the way they got out in both innings, from an English point of view, and just thinks, yeah, that shot was probably on, but could I just get my eye in first? Could I just punch it through the covers rather than try and crunch it on the up for 4? Could I just get to 10, 15, 30 and then go supersonic and be really aggressive? And I know that England will double down. It's their nature under Stokes and McCullum. The very fact that they've got so much vitriol from the English press, I think, means that they will definitely double down. Because the English press are classic that if it goes well, Bazball's the best thing since sliced bread and it's wonderful. As soon as it goes badly, everyone turns on the team. And Ben Stokes, got rightly rattled by that at the end of the last game. He knows full well that his team are at their best when they're being aggressive. Whether they can just temper that aggression maybe early on, especially the guys who aren't in good form. It's all very well being aggressive, but a bit of form, a few runs behind you first certainly help things.
Well, we could be in for a wild ride. As we talked about last week, Stokesy came out and said they're going to need to show more conviction with the bat, so it's going to be lively.
Speaking of under pressure, India, the test series against South Africa, first one that South Africa have won in India in 25 years, but it now means that India have lost 5 of their past 7 home tests under Gautam Gambhir. There's certainly a lot of criticism being placed on his shoulders. Somebody like an AB de Villiers has come out and said maybe he's too emotional to be coach, particularly in that form of the game. Swanee, you've got a bit of a different theory on what's going wrong with India at the moment, and you've spent a lot of time there, of course.
Well, I do. Firstly, as soon as a team plays badly, I don't know why the coach gets it in the neck, to be honest. I know that's modern sport, and I'm a football fan, and if Newcastle lost 10 in a row, I'd be screaming for Eddie Howe to be sacked because I'm a fickle idiot like the rest of football fans. Don't get me wrong. However, once they get over the line, those Indian players, I think they're putting themselves under a lot of pressure because we still assume that Indians are the best players of spin in the world. And one or two of them, of that top 6 really are. Shubman Gill especially, one of the best players I've seen in a long time. But I think because they've lost a few games at home, they've been spun out a few times, they've now gone into their shell. They're not using their feet. They're not being aggressive. They're like rabbits in headlights. And so they're actually becoming much easier to bowl at than they should be because they're scared of losing because how big cricket is in India. I think the big thing that Gautam Gambhir can do is just sit them all down and ignore the press, ignore the noise from outside. Remember how good you are. Remember how good you are at using your feet. Remember how good you are at sweeping. Play these spinners as if you've batted against spin all your life, not as if we get out, we never play again. And that's just what it seems like from the outside. I could be wrong, but I think the Indian batting looks very, very timid at the minute. And I've played against Indian players when they're timid and they're easy to bowl at, and when they're not, when they're looking to be on the front foot, they're magnificent. So I think that the one thing they could do is turn around and say, come on, let's be more proactive, more aggressive, not allow people to bowl at us, in our home conditions especially.
You, my friend, are magnificent. Thanks for joining us. We'll chat to you after Brisbane. Don't go anywhere. We're taking on the short stuff next. Time for the short stuff. How impressive was King Kohli's ODI knock?
Unbelievable knock, 52nd ODI 100. I mean, that is incredible in itself. He was more aggressive than what we've seen in the past, and once he gets going, almost impossible to stop.
7 sixes as well, if you don't mind.
The WPL mega auction, Elisa Healy not selected. How do we feel?
Pretty disappointed about it, but it's got to be something to do with her durability. She's had a lot of injuries.
The PM's 11, your own match or your own wedding? What do you choose?
You don't want to leave the bride at the altar, and I reckon he might have got some grief at home had he done that.
I agree.
Congratulations, Albo. The rain-affected match in the WBBL, no result. How much of a debacle was it?
Oh, it was a diabolical decision at the time. The rain was easing as they pulled everyone off the field. Crazy.
Will Mitch Marsh play a role this Ashes series?
I don't think so.
Win the toss in Brisbane and?
Have a bat.
Absolutely.
And keep batting. And declare under lights.
See you next week.